This is a special edition of Event.com's Ask an Event Pro, brought to you by RunningUSA. My name is Bob Babbitt. With me, Mr. Josh Cox, 2:13 marathoner, but more importantly, agent to the stars right now. You've got a great group running on Saturday.
Yeah, we have 12 athletes going to be towing the line on Saturday. It's good. You know, we had 2 athletes that didn't make it to the start line, which we know that's the toughest part, is just getting to that start line healthy. And you know, we'll take 12 and we'll take our chances. I think we have a good shot of putting some multiple people on the team. It's going to be good.
Really? I mean, only 3 spots for men, 3 spots for women.
Yeah, I'm an optimist, Bob. You got to be positive.
Always been an optimist.
Yeah, for sure. So
and when you think back to your Olympic trials experience, I love the fact that you were pacing Brian Culley in a marathon. He was trying to qualify for trials.
1999.
1999, and next thing you know, he's dropped out. And you're like, well, I'm here.
Yeah.
And you run what, 2:19? No,
2:19:58 at Rock and Roll San Diego, second annual. So it was, I was training for the 5 and 10,000, and I jumped in there to help him. You know, 17, maybe 20.
Yes.
You know, big long run, and I felt good, and I got to that point, and he was kind of falling off, and he said, "JC, if you're gonna keep going, just go." And and I went and rattled off some 5-minute miles at the end, and youngest qualifier for the 2000 trials, and I've competed in the last 4 Olympic trials in the marathon, and now I'm back with a whole bunch of athletes running, so it's good.
And from your growth from a 2:19 guy, then you go and run 2:13.
Yep.
I mean, everything happened so quickly.
Yeah, I did.
Part of the FILA team.
Yep.
But one of the things you talked to me before about was when you went to Kenya, you learned a lot about recovery and a lot about resting. For the American, if you're driving your car around, you think, oh, I'm resting.
You're resting. You're sitting at your desk and you're doing emails. This is rest. It's not rest.
No.
Rest is laying down on the grass, laying on the bed, no stimulus at all. Just lay down and watch the clouds go by, and is it time for the second run? Maybe we should go for a third run. But you're not doing anything in between other than eating, drinking, sleeping, napping, sleeping, running. I mean, that's it.
And what did you learn from that?
It's all about recovery. All you're doing when you're working out is just beating up the body, and so it's the same thing whether you're running or going to the gym. You're stronger going into the gym than you are leaving the gym. When you leave the gym, you're all broken down and you're weak. It's the same thing when you go to run. You're stronger leaving the house than you are when you come back.
Right.
But you get better when you recover and you rest. So the rest is paramount.
So if you were going to pick some of the folks who could be favorites, who could possibly make the team, who could make the team from your Hoka 1-1?
Yeah, okay, from
your team.
Hoka 1-1 NAZ Elite. I think Kellen Taylor's really strong.
Yes.
Probably
she looks very confident.
She's really fit, Bob, and this isn't pre-race hyperbole. She's in the shape of her life. I mean, it's only her second marathon, so there is a certain learning curve. We have to see how she deals with the elements. You know, obviously with the heat on Saturday, but she's in shape to run 2:25 in my opinion.
Wow.
She won't do that on Saturday because of the conditions, but she's ready to run that sort of time, judging by the training that she's done, and so I feel pretty good about it. The women's field is stacked. You know, it's the Olympic trials. Everybody shows up. I have also from that team, Matt Yano. He ran 2:12 in Berlin.
Yes.
Scott Smith is really ready. He's run every step with him. Matt ran 2:12 in Berlin, but is a 61:47 half marathoner.
Yes.
So he has the wheels. He has the speed. But it's stacked. Ben Bruce, too, on that team, 62:28. He could be a dark horse. You know, just ran that last month, pulled it out. He's 8:19 steepler, has all those marathons under his belt. Dez is going to be really tough. She's been my first client, my number one client.
Yes.
Running for Hanson's Brooks. The one things with the Hanson's folks is they're prepared. Keith and Kevin, they do a phenomenal job getting their athletes ready for the marathon. Bobby Curtis is another guy who's primed and ready to run really well. They've also been down in the Florida heat, which I think is going to pay.
Makes a difference.
It's going to pay big dividends, you know, come tomorrow. So.
You know what's interesting is sometimes, because we've seen it in Kona, is people go over and spend a little too much time in heat.
Yeah, sure.
You go from hot to air conditioning and back and forth. Sometimes you get a little sick, sometimes a little fatigued. I've seen people who spend like a month before in Kona just flame out and have good races. So that balance between you know, training at altitude like Mev's been doing, doing some sauna work, and then coming down here and being ready to handle heat.
Yeah, it's a fine line, a very fine line, and you want to get acclimated, but you don't want to deplete yourself either. So you have to stay on top of the electrolytes and recovery, as we were talking about before.
Best race you ever had?
Oh, gosh.
In your mind. Not so much.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can look at a time and go, okay, that was the best.
Yeah.
To look at, but for you, Josh Cox, this is the race that meant the most to me.
I think, well, two. I think coming back and running 2:13 at Cal International in 2009, that was big just because I hadn't PR'd in so long, and my dad had passed away in the middle. I took a 2-year hiatus from the sport to take care of him when he got cancer, and so that meant a lot. I think the 50K American record in Arizona, the second time running 2:43:45. At the time, I was a little bit disappointed. This was coming off of everything, and I came through the marathon in 2:17:30, but then it wasn't great on my fluid during the whole race. Which, I mean, we talk about nutrition. That's going to come into major play here. You know, we always say with the Ironman, it's an eating and drinking competition.
That's exactly.
And this on Sunday is truly going to be. It's not just how fit you are. It's how well can you get in your fluids and get in your calories. And I'm telling the athletes, run with your bottles. It's one thing that does great. She'll run a half mile with her bottle.
Right. Why not?
Let's finish it.
Get it all in. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
What have you been out on the course? Have you checked out this course?
I have. You know, the Mammoth, A6 Mammoth Track Club came down. I ran the course with them and checking it out with Andrew Castor. He has some great athletes running. Shadrach Biwat, 61:24 guy. He's run 2:12. He's had some bad luck in the marathon so far. So I think he's going to be a player. Checking out the course with those guys and talking with them, and there's just a lot of turns, particularly in that USC section and running by the Coliseum. So I think it favors more of a cross-country runner. It's not a rhythm course. I mean, there are sections on Figueroa where you're going to be able to lock it in and really dial in that rhythm, but your rhythm's going to be broke. And I think the play here on this course is relax, wait. And when you make your move, you got to make it big. And I really think making any kind of move before 30K is going to be a mistake. Any big move, unless somebody is really ready to do it. And you know, we have a lot of young half marathoners in there.
I was going to say the half marathon changes it.
Yeah, it does, because they don't know what it's supposed to feel like. This feels really easy. It's supposed to feel easy at 16. So it'll be interesting to see the way that Diego Estrada's one, a big time talent. Sam Chalanga's a big time talent. There are some very great veterans out there. Meb and Jared Ward runs a very smart race. I want to say he did his doctoral thesis or some kind of grad work thesis on best marathon pacing practices or something. So it was funny. I was talking to the NAZ guys last night. They're like, well, if he did his whole thesis on this, I'm just going to key off him.
Exactly.
Because, I mean,
figure he knows what he's doing.
Right? Yeah, for sure. And I said, well, him and Meb.
Meb's got a thesis. Meb has a doctorate.
Yeah. In the School of Hard Knocks. Yeah.
The School of Running.
Yeah, that's it.
When I see a 10 o'clock start and I hear 80 degrees, I flash back to Athens.
Oh, for sure.
And thinking about Meb and Dina sitting back in 20th, 25th place at the halfway, and just knowing there's going to be carnage.
Yeah.
And you're just going to run through the carnage.
Right. And it's not about your PR on a day like that. It's about how smart you are and how even you can get to 20 miles. It's not just getting to 20 miles in the pack. It's how even. How many moves do you respond to? You want to remain as economical as possible. It's like when we split time between Temecula and Mammoth, and when I'm driving up the 395, it's cruise control. Like, that's the most efficient way. Just lock in cruise control and go. And that's the most efficient use of your fuel. And that's the same thing when you're running. You want to stay as even as possible.
Right.
Don't worry about the surges. Cover half a move maybe, depending on who's doing it. But get the 20 miles with your legs under you, and then you got a shot.
What I saw Ryan Hall this morning in the weight room. Yeah. And he looks like he's up 10 pounds of solid rock muscle.
For sure, yeah.
And you look like you've been spending some time in the gym. And we were chatting a little earlier about, you as a runner, you have to be this close to that red line of being way too thin, right? And being unhealthy.
It's a razor's edge,
So now that you don't have to do that, you're going in a little different direction.
I am, and Ryan was sort of the impetus. He's a great friend of mine, and we're working together, and he was telling me, he's like, JC, let's do it. Like, let's do this thing. This is a program I'm on. He sent me this program. It's 6 days a week. It's
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. It's 2 hours a day in the gym, like legit. You're supposed to take 45 seconds between sets, but sometimes it's tough and you're trying to throw a big weight and whatever. But it's awesome. I mean,
it's fun, right?
Oh, it's so fun because it's this new challenge. and you're going, man, I've been weak for so long. Now I'm really gonna try and get strong, and I'm gonna try and get big, and I'm gonna try and pack on muscle. And I'm having 6 eggs for breakfast, and I'm having 6 eggs before I go to bed, and I'm eating steak, and you're like,
this is the best.
I'm like, this is amazing. Like when you're training, it's not that. Food is always the fuel. You need the food to do it, but you kind of view it as, particularly as a bigger guy like myself.
You were always bigger than the Kenyans you're racing against.
Always. And Ryan's genetics too. I mean, for those that know Mickey and his brothers, like they're bigger dudes.
Triathletes.
They have some big shoulders and some big chest, and Ryan has the genes to really do it, and he's so committed that he's gonna do it.
So many runners burn out because in high school and college, coaches are shoving 100 miles a week on them.
Right.
They don't believe in cross training, and these guys get injured and they're done.
Right.
And someone like Ryan could be basically our spokesperson for, hey, run less, run forever.
Yeah.
He can still go out and run, but doing pull-ups, doing push-ups, doing weights, you're strong forever.
Be healthy.
Be healthy.
And look good on the beach. You know, you get out there and you're like, wow, this is something I can be proud of. And we were discussing it when you go and you hammer a 20-mile day. In running, you're so depleted. You're just totally gassed.
Yes.
And you're laying on the bed and your calf's doing the twitch thing, your hamstring, you're like, I need more fluid. Like, when you leave the gym, you're gassed, but it's a different kind of gassed.
So the endorphins are going.
You just feel a good pump, and you're not totally depleted. So it's a really cool thing. And Ryan, I mean, people have asked me a lot about his retirement, and they're like, oh, is it sad? And I'm like, the guy was running 100-mile weeks and 50-minute tempo, 10-mile tempos in high school.
Right.
You know, I was talking with Bob Larson, and he's like, I had guys in college that ran 2:13 in college, and they weren't doing what Ryan was doing in high school.
But for the average person, it's not average. You guys are never average when you're doing, but 6 years or so.
Yeah. For a normal pro, and really, if you go 6 years as a pro, that's a long career.
It is a long career.
And Meb, I mean, Meb's Meb. You know,
a freak.
I always tell Andrew Castor, I'm like, Dina and Meb, they're not the rule. They're the exception.
Anomaly.
They're so amazing. And Meb has always done the little things. I mean, and he's a huge talent. You know, 1600, 3200 champ in high school, and running 35 miles a week, and just a gifted guy. I remember the first time I saw him running in 1990, run around Morley Field, and I'm like, dude, that kid looks like he's on rails. You know, just and
all legs.
Oh yeah,
all legs.
Just amazing.
Long legs, a little body.
And it's inspiring to see him out there, and I'm hoping. You know, people are like, well, you know, he's 40, ran New York. I'm like, hey, look, if you're going to be the one to count out Meb, then
it can be me.
Yeah, God bless him, but it's not going to be me.
He wins the trials in 2012. He's 40 years old. His kids are old enough now to appreciate what all that's going through his head.
Oh, it's great.
He wants his girls to see him go to another Olympics.
Yeah.
And I was telling Rob Lusitana, because he did that movie on Meb and Coach Larson,
right.
and he had to change the finish when Meb made the team in 12.
Yeah.
Then when Meb won Boston.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you better get ready.
Yeah.
You might have to change the finish of your movie again when this makes his 4th Olympics.
That's a good problem to have, I'd say. Yeah, it's
so
very
how many
cool.
athletes are you working with now?
12 here racing on Saturday. We have just over around 22.
God, how do you keep track of all that?
Just stay on top of it, you know. And we have good systems and procedures in place. My wife does a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yes.
She was a mathematics and quantum physics major at Berkeley, as you know, and worked for NASA for a year. So literally,
she can figure this out.
Literally a rocket scientist. So she's great with the Excel spreadsheet and great with the travel and great with the bookings, and she's meticulous, and she frees me up enough to where I can do my thing and go out and get these guys support.
Love it. Josh, as always a pleasure to chat with you.
Bob,
congrats on everything.
Thanks, man.
You were doing.
Thanks,
Love
sir.
it.
Appreciate it.
The legendary Josh Cox has been our guest. We are brought to you by Running USA. Hold on, everybody. We'll be right back.
Hi, it's Andrea, ping pong champion from Events.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for more tips.